and let us all do we can to build a better future. It's funny seeing liberals and people who carried water for the Democrats since 2016 starting to panic. Now, I want to be very clear here. I understand why people got triggered after 2016. I get it. Donald Trump beating Hillary Clinton. I don't think any of us really saw it happening. I remember after Philly, I was saying there's a 50-50 chance Donald Trump could pull it off. And I was dismissed. I was told, no, kid, you're wrong. But no. I remember Philly. I remember how that whole thing turned out and what happened to Bernie Sanders supporters and Green Party people. But I also noticed a shift in tone in individuals. Obviously, corporate media is going to become a propaganda machine for the Democrats. CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, we're all in on, as well as online media from Vice, Vox, BuzzFeed, Huffington Post, Washington Post, all of them, including independent media outlets like TYT and Majority Report. We're all telling us that we have to vote Democrat, reform the Democrats, because otherwise we're going to lose to Trump again in 2020, or either that, we got to make sure we beat the Republicans in the next elections to come. And so when 2020 came around and Bernie Sanders cucked out again and Biden became the nominee, we saw people like Cenk tell us we got to vote for Biden, but then hold his feet to the fire, push him left, and we'll get everything we need. Keep our powder dry, and everything will be A-okay. If we just stay focused on the mission, we will become a powerhouse, and Justice Democrats, brand new Congress, DSA, our revolution will reform the Democrats. Well, Cenk was wrong. All the blue MAGA supporters were wrong. Anyone that thought voting for the Democrats would change things were wrong. It's like having the bear eat you and changing it from the inside. No, when the bear eats you, the bear's going to eat you and then crap you out. Just like what the Democrats did to Black Lives Matter, Me Too, Time's Up, Sunrise Movement, DSA, Justice Democrats, brand new Congress, our revolution, etc., 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 etc. I'm not wrong here, but I find it hilarious when I found this opinion piece because recently Biden's numbers are crashing and burning. And Fat Tony, I mean Cenk Uygur, wrote an opinion piece. The CEO and founder of TYT and author of Justice is Coming wrote an opinion piece. Mr. President, you're going to lose to Trump. We're begging you to step down. We're begging you to step down. Geez, I remember when Cenk was telling us we got to keep our powder dry. And I can't forget also that during the PBD podcast where you said if it was Trump versus Biden again, you'd vote for Biden again. So I'm just counting down the days when you tell us, we got to vote for Biden because Trump. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Again, let's see what he wrote. The old rule about incumbents was that if they are under 50 points in approval, they're toast. Joe Biden is under 40. There's almost no chance he's going to win. I never heard of an incumbent polling under 40 points who went on to win re-election. When it comes to Joe Biden, 3 and 6 recent polls had him in the 30s. In one recent poll, President Biden was at an abysmal 32%. Sorry, but that's unrecoverable. Just wait till he gets another Katzenberg check. I'm sorry. He's going to change his tone. You're just telling yourself your sweet little lies if you think he can win with those numbers. I know what everyone in Washington is going to say, but that's not fair. He passed so many bills. No one has passed this much legislation since Grover Cleveland or something. He passed the semiconductor bill. Okay, whatever. I got bad news for you if you're a Democrat. No one cares about the semiconductor bill or any of the other bills that helped his donors so much. And coincidentally, a couple other Americans as well. Even if you love those bills, no American even knows about them. So in other words, Cenk, what you're saying is Jimmy Dore was correct in saying that all these bills were nothing but show and that Biden, Bernie, AOC, the Justice Democrats, and anyone carrying water for them were just dragging us along by the short hairs, right? That we have to vote Democrat, that we have to be liberals. I mean, Cenk, it's okay for you to admit it. It's okay. It's all okay if you want to admit that Jimmy Dore was correct. It's fine. We'll give you a pass. It'll be okay, buddy. Don't worry about it. Just admit that you're wrong. You were wrong, and Jimmy Dore was correct. By the way, I still love that little meltdown he was having. On the other hand, if you're a Republican, Biden is a godsend, especially if you're MAGA. Well, gee, I remember Cenk, not too long ago, how you were saying on your show that, oh boy, Biden's going to smack around Trump. There's no way Trump can beat anyone else. Another poll found that 59% of Americans think Trump should end his campaign immediately and quit life. Okay, they didn't say the last part. Oh, so that's what you put in. But they might as well have. I've never seen a number that bad in the same poll. Trump came in at an abysmal 33% approval rating. And how did Biden do in the poll? Worse. He was 1 point lower at 32%. MAGA should be doing everything they can to keep Biden in the race. He's their only hope. Well, don't worry, Cenk. I mean, the Democrats are going to keep Biden in the race. The Democrats don't care. I mean, yes, they do see that there's some trouble brewing, but if the Democrats can keep old man Biden in, they're going to. President Biden needs to step down immediately and give someone else a chance to do what they will certainly be able to accomplish, trounce Trump in 2024. I'm a progressive, okay? So even if I get my wish and President Biden were to step down, I'm not overly fond of any corporate Democrats we have to choose from. But if you're being honest, they all would beat Trump with a stick. Not because they're so great, but because Trump is infinitely worse. And the American people know it. Trump is polling at 33%. 6 out of 10 Americans despise him, yet Biden is still losing to him. If you spend any time listening to people in power, in politics, or media, you'll have heard some version of the talking point that Joe Biden is the only one that can beat Trump. It's nonsense. Based on what data are they making this claim? The truth is opposite. Biden is the only person who can't beat Trump. My left foot can beat Trump. No, Cenk, don't talk about politics, man. The last time you ran for office, it was abysmal. It was abysmal, Janky. An open dumpster can beat Trump. This is when the DNC establishment will huff. He beat him the last time. Yes, Joe Biden won the Electoral College by 44,000 votes in 3 swing states. You know what that means? It means he almost lost to a complete buffoon who said we would inject disinfectants into our bodies to cure COVID. Biden won by the skin of his teeth to that ignoramus. Sorry about ignoramus. Oops, sorry about that. Read that wrong. And that was when he was about 10, 15 points higher in approval. Let that sink in. He was at least 10 points higher, and he barely won the last time. Well, gee, Cenk, you carried water for him. You carried water for him. Here, I want to pull up this tweet here from Jimmy Dore, who was, again, 100% true. Retweet out from Ryan Knight. Biden and the Democrats are going to get crushed in 2024, and they will have no one to blame but themselves. Gaslighting people that the economy is great when most Americans have less money in their pockets due to the rising cost of living was always going to backfire on Democrats. Case in point, look at that. Don't show these numbers to Cenk. He'll have another meltdown. He'll panic again. He'll begin to cry. But it's okay. It's okay, though. But look at these numbers. Look at these numbers and what they really show. They show a horrifying truth. And something that I called out that would definitely happen. That eventually the Democrats will become overconfident or think that people will just support Biden because, well, just because. And I do find it hilarious when we have people like Cenk who then have the audacity to say, of all things, that we need to support him. We have to do that. We have to support the Democrats. Or either that, we have to get the Democrats to tell Biden to drop out. But here, when Cenk tweets this out, people are always asking for a name. It's so easy. Almost any Democrat would beat Trump except Biden and Harris. So here are 2 names who would definitely win. Governor Andy Beshear and Governor Josh Shapiro. To which we would respond, the answer is simple. None. The Democrats are a joke. Move away, break away, and don't waste your time with Democrats. Simple. Simple as that. Biden's disapproval rating hits highest mark of presidency. This says a lot about the entire administration. Biden's disapproval rating hit the highest mark of his presidency. Disapproval rating hit the highest mark of his presidency in a new poll that also showed support by essential voting blocs is slipping. Biden's disapproval rating ticked up to 56%, with 41% saying they approve. The survey also shows support for Biden slipping with voters aged 18 to 24, who reported a 46 approval rating, Latinos who reported 43%, and then independents who will likely be deciding in the general election at 36%. An NBC News poll released Sunday continues a trend of showing an overwhelming majority of voters expressing concern about Biden, as well as his likely 2024 general election opponent, former President Donald Trump. Trump's lead in the GOP primary has also surged ahead of the crowded field of opponents. He's leading by 43% despite a myriad of legal troubles in the form of 4 state and federal criminal indictments. That's not going to do anything to Trump. That won't. But here, let's pull up this video here. It's going to be quite hilarious. Let's enjoy it together and laugh.
It's a simple question of job approval. Barely 40% approve of Joe Biden's performance.
And we have to note 56%. That's the highest disapproval rating for President Biden since he took office. That's significant.
Yeah, so let's take a look at what's driving that too here. In one big area, no surprise, it is the economy. Look at this contrast.
Again, look, if this angers you, deal with it. The one thing that's going to matter in this election is not identity politics. It's going to be about the dollars, and that's going to impact everybody. No matter what state you live in, the color of your skin, who you worship, what generation you're part of, it's going to be about the dollars. I've asked this question before, and I'll ask it again. Let's have democracy in the chat. Type 1 if you think the economy is doing great for you. Full tank of gas, 3 meals a day, roof over your head, bills are always paid on time. Things are great for you. Type 2, like, no, man, please stop asking this question. It hurts too much. Dude, it's going to cost like $600 to go outside pretty soon. I don't know how I'm going to make it past the next hour. I wonder how many twos we're going to get in the chat. Again, this election here in 2024 or coming up in 2024 is only going to be about the dollars. It's going to be about the economy. It's going to be the one thing, the only thing people are going to care about, whether social justice warriors want to admit it or not. Listen, the internet is a wonderful place, but guess what? The internet's not the real world. Outside, people are struggling. Outside, people don't know how they're going to make it. And this economy is going to be the number one issue. And when we see, and Americans do see it, that billions of dollars are going to a foreign country, but yet the people of Maui, Hawaii are left holding the bag. The people of East Palestine, Ohio are left holding the bag. People of Flint, Michigan, well, they've been holding the bag empty for quite some time. Again, but there are numerous cities and towns all across this country that have no idea how their populace are going to make it. It's going to be about the economy. And the Democrats have failed miserably. Never forget the people who tried to bully you and tell you that you got to vote for Biden because things will be better. That didn't happen.
This is April of 21, months after Biden took office. Nearly half the country was satisfied with where the economy was then. Now, barely 1 in 4 Americans satisfied with the economy. There's also this. We found an enthusiasm gap between the two parties. We asked folks on a scale of 1 to 10, how enthusiastic are you about the presidential election? And you can see Republican to Democrat, there is a gap right there. Where's the lag for Democrats? We found a couple places. Non-white voters, you can see significantly less enthusiastic than white voters. And then how about this age gap? The youngest group of voters who Democrats have been trying to get.
Well, gee, it's almost as if there was an opportunity for the Democrats to actually do something about student debt forgiveness. It's almost as if the Democrats, if they actually fought harder, they could have protected Roe v. Wade. And no, I don't want to hear that crap of, well, those Trump Supreme Court justices are the ones responsible for it. No, the Democrats could have done something. Obama could have done something. He could have forced his Supreme Court nominee pick in. And he also could have made sure that Ruth Bader Ginsburg could have stepped down. The old bag was having health problems. Well, what? You didn't want to take her out? Because what? Identity politics? Yeah, identity politics is detrimental. Yes, I get it. Social issues are important. But if it's going to cripple your movement, it's going to cripple policies, or either that, maintaining power, you got to cast it aside. Democrats did that to themselves. Obama didn't have the balls to do it. Simple. So this age bracket, 18 to 34, no student debt forgiveness. Didn't protect Roe v. Wade. Oh, how can you forget this one too? During the height of a pandemic, no Medicare for all. Democrats, you did this to yourselves. And if you were bullied in 2020 to vote for Biden because of, oh no, Trump, don't let these people do that to you again. Don't let these blue MAGA, but you push them right back. And if anything, hang out with Hardlands Media. You'll find some like-minded people here who'll tell you that it's okay to stand up. You don't owe the Democrats your vote. And if you want to vote independent, or hell, if you don't want to vote at all, that's your right. Your vote doesn't belong to a politician. They have to earn it. That's Politics 101. Never forget the people who carried water for the Democrats and said, we have to beat Trump because Biden's so much better.
Excited and motivated, a nearly 50-point gap there.
So really an uphill battle to try to make sure voters don't stay home if you're Democrats.
Yeah, that's it. And the problem for
Don't stay home. She's saying that. Don't stay home. Here, let's listen. I got it one more time.
Democrats have been trying to get excited and motivated, a nearly 50-point gap there.
So really an uphill battle to try to make sure voters don't stay home if you're Democrats.
Yeah, that's it. And the problem for Democrats, too, the lack of enthusiasm about the election, there's clearly a lack of enthusiasm about the president himself, because we asked primary voters on the Democratic side, do you want options next year besides Biden? 59% said yes, they do. This is not a normal number for an incumbent. We asked the same question a year.
Yes, and let's look at that number again. But I said that this was going to happen in 2020. My colleague Daniel said this was going to happen in 2020 or after 2020, that this election was going to happen this way. That Americans were going to become, or is that realize just how incompetent Joe Biden is and how incompetent the Democrats are. They're losing again to Trump. We don't owe the Democrats a goddamn thing. And no governor or no senator or no House representative in the Democratic Party is going to change it. The Democrats have shown that they are nothing but talk. They're nothing but talk. They're not going to do anything about a woman's right to choose. They're not going to do anything about Medicare for all. They're not going to do anything about student debt forgiveness. These are facts, and we have been reporting on this since the aftermath of the 2020 general election. Hey, Bernie, how's your good friend Joe Biden doing?
Before Donald Trump sought re-election of Republicans, only 37% wanted more choices then. That's a very high number.
Yeah, this is like the inverse of each other, these two numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it raises the question, too, what else concerns Democrats? And I think this gets to sort of the elephant in the room here. Biden's age and fitness. I mean, look at this contrast. We have talked so much about Donald Trump, the indictments, the legal.
And those indictments are doing nothing but helping Trump. I mean, that mugshot boosted up his approval rating. That mugshot rallied his supporters. Biden, however, his age, we all see it. Everybody sees it. He's demented. He has Alzheimer's. There's something wrong with him. And if he gets reelected, he'll be 86 years old once his term is done. The oldest president in U.S. history. He has no business in that seat of power.
They are clearly a major or moderate concern to the majority of Americans. But Biden's age and fitness for office, almost 3 out of 4 in our poll. This is Democrats, Republicans, independents say it's a major or moderate concern for them. How about Trump? He's only a few years younger than Biden. A full 27-point gap right there. This is looming as a major problem for the president, too.
It's notable because his strategy is to try to laugh off concerns about his age. We'll have to see if they revisit that strategy. All right, fascinating stuff.
Yeah, fascinating stuff. Well, hey, listen, if you're Cenk, though, there's no serious person in politics who doesn't realize that Biden would lose to Trump if the election were held today. In fact, right now, it would be an electoral college landslide, and yet no other Democratic politician in the country has the courage to challenge him. Cowards! Cenk. Look, I'm not a big fan of the Democratic primary, but there's RFK Jr. and Marianne Williamson. And I know that you had a huge meltdown with Brianna Joy Gray on The Rising. You know, where you were saying if the media only covered her as much, she would be a front runner. Why don't you encourage, put her name in there? Was that just all talk? Were you just melting down because Jimmy Dore was rent-free in your head and that Jimmy Dore was right since the aftermath of the 2016 elections as well as the 2020 elections? Cenk, again, we just wrote, it was beautiful to see your meltdown that you had on Rising. All of us would be counting down on days when you tell us to vote for Biden because the DNC will never listen to you. Case in point, the failed Justice Democrats. The real truth is to break away from the two-party system, and that's the one thing you should do. It's the only thing you should do because let's take a good long listen to this man. Again, Biden, you don't inspire confidence.
And two of the great artists of our time representing the groundbreaking legacy of hip-hop in America, LL Cool J.
LL Cool J. Oh, boy. Hang on. Listen to that.
Great artists of our time representing the groundbreaking legacy of hip-hop in America, LL Cool J. By the way, that boy's got...
That boy. Ah. Even he knows he got it wrong. His brain cells, the last remnants of his brain cells, like, wait a minute. It's not the 1960s or 70s anymore.
That man's got biceps bigger than my thighs. I think he's... And MC Light, both of you, thank you. Because they both have the light off on the mic, you know you're all here to listen to the new edition. Mike Bivens, 40 years producing music that lifts our souls.
God, that was so painful to watch. But here's the thing. Everybody knows this right now. Even if they were to replace Biden, his VP is no better. The Democrats literally have nobody. They have no one that can inspire confidence. I mean, let's face it. Bernie Sanders cucked out not once but twice. AOC is mediocre. The entire squad in Congressional Progressive Caucus are mediocre. Elizabeth Warren doesn't even have the spine to do so. And so let's look at Kamala. She ain't popular.
I know that you're saying you don't look at the polls too much, but our poll does show her favorability is actually lower than President Biden and even than former President Trump. Why do you think she's not resonating more with voters? What do you?
Because the only reason why she got into power was a guy named Brown. I mean, oops. That's such a funny story. It's such a funny story. Well, we'll save it again for another day, you know. Now, just make sure you're not on your knees when you're listening to that story, okay? I love that I'm on my anti-hero arc.
What do you think the issue is?
Because when you compare the first woman of color and first woman to be vice president of the United States and compare that to all of the history before, you will get that. I think that during this campaign, she will demonstrate, as she did in that hall last night, that she knows exactly what she's doing. She has the capacity and the capability to be president of the United States if called upon to do so.
That was such a wonderful, nice thing to say about her, but that's not factual at all, buddy. And once again, this should show all of you. That for all those who said smugly throughout all of 2020 that Biden was the guy that's going to get things done. He's going to be the next FDR. He's going to be competent. He's going to return the soul back to America. Americans are struggling financially, and this election is going to be about the economy. And Biden and his entire administration failed the American people. We were abandoned. We have been left behind. And yet, billions of dollars going to Ukraine, billions of dollars bailing out Wall Street and big banks and the corporations, politicians doing insider trading, corruption still happening. I mean, nothing has fundamentally changed. I mean, hey, Democrats, I mean, especially those who were bullied into voting Democrats. Did anything change? Did anything get better for you after that election? This is why you don't let people and their derangement get the better of your critical thinking. And it's important to be a critical thinker. And it's important to be skeptical of everything. It's important to question everything. And yes, do your own research. Because this is what happens when you're subservient to a political party that does not like you, that does not think about you, and does not respect you. Now, I'm going to be voting independent. And all of you, I encourage you to do whatever you feel comfortable with doing. I'm not going to tell you how to vote. But know this, that the Democrats and Republicans do not have your best interests at heart. They will stab you in the back at the first opportunity they get. These politicians are only in it for their own profit. Again, they are only in it for their own profit. And Biden has been the main architect of this system that we are in. The reason why things are so bad is because, again, Biden has been part of the Washington, D.C. machine. And now we are witnessing its declining years. This man is confused. He is old. He does not exude any kind of confidence whatsoever out of him. He is somebody who looks like a clown all the time, embarrassing us, embarrassing himself. And yet we had people in 2020 say that we have to vote for Biden because, oh no, here comes Trump. What kind of propaganda are you going to use if the Democrats are going to keep on using Biden? What can you use to, I don't know, make us fear vote for Biden this time around? What, Trump, Trump, Trump? No one cares. And let's say Biden is cast aside. If you got Kamala or whoever else, what kind of fear tactics are you going to use this time around too? Again, you're probably going to keep on using Trump, 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 Trump. But eventually people are going to stop listening, because if that's the only thing you have, then you're making yourselves truly irrelevant, which is what the Democrats have done, which is what Biden has done to himself, and which is something that people like Cenk and everyone else has been carrying water for the Democrats have done to themselves. I'm only waiting for the day to see some sort of mysterious donor give money to TYT, where they have to tell us, hey guys, I know it's going to be rough, but we got to roll up our sleeves, get ready to push a Democrat incumbent or Democrat politician, whoever they may be, hold their feet to the fire, because we got to stop them because of Twump. No one cares. It's all one big joke. And I'm looking forward to election night, because I'm going to cook myself a ribeye steak and feast on some liberal tears. That's what I'm going to do. And I encourage all of you to do the same, as you should, as all of you should.